Now that you understand the process to resolve an issue and the importance of documentation, it's time to review the language that exists in the main provincial collective agreement. The language tells you how to form a professional practice committee in a workplace where there isn't one, gives you information about the committee, such as who sits on it and minutes of the meeting. The language also provides direction in the case where a professional practice issue may be recurring or not resolved. We will review some of the important clauses in the collective agreement in this module. Refer to your collective agreement for specific wording. If there isn't a PPC in place in your worksite, it is possible to establish a committee that you may be entitled to under 5.02a. Contact your LRO, who can make the request in writing to your employer. This is a good opportunity to collaborate with the employer to mutually agree on a professional practice form that is suited to your workplace under 5.02h. Formation of a professional practice committee. Article 5.02a says, within 60 days of receipt of a written request from the union, the employer and the branch shall form a professional practices committee, and so on. This language entitles your branch to establish a committee. We know from our member research that there are branches without a professional practices committee, despite the language that entitles them to have one. Without a committee, there is no formal, recognized mechanism in place where RNs can address issues such as workload, patient safety, nursing practice, and RN safety. The collective agreement is agreed upon language between the employer and the RNU. It represents your rights in the workplace, so it's important to be familiar with the professional practice language and how it applies in your workplace. For branches who have PPC in place, refer to the collective agreement language, Article 5.02, included in the Tools section of the Professional Practice booklet. The remainder of this module will review some of the critical clauses in Article 5.02 as it applies to branches who have a professional practice committee in place. Composition of the committee. See Article 5.02b, which says, the committee shall be composed of 3 registered nurses designated by the union and 3 persons designated by the employer. In certain cases, asking your LRO to attend a meeting may be a good option when issues are not getting resolved at the committee level, or for issues that may be contentious or hot. The LRO can play a role by having thorough knowledge of the collective agreement and nursing practice issues, and being supportive of members. Similarly, the employer may ask someone to attend. In such a situation where an additional union or employer representative may be attending, each party should notify the other 7 calendar days in advance of the meeting. Meetings of the committee. See Article 5.02d, which says, the committee should meet at least once a month, or may meet at the request of the other party. A registered nurse who sits on the committee, performs any work required by the committee, or who is called upon to appear before the committee, shall be released from duty without loss of pay or benefits. While the committee should meet once per month, it is possible to have meeting times more or less frequently, as long as it is mutually agreeable by those on the committee. If you are an RN on the committee and are having difficulty in establishing a meeting time with an employer representative, follow up with your LRO. If you sit on the committee, there is no loss of pay for you to attend meetings. Try and schedule the meetings on your days to work. Alternatively, appoint an alternate to sit in if the meeting falls on your day off. Tips for presenting your professional practice concern is a tool in the booklet that may be useful if you sit on the PPC and or attend professional practice meetings. It provides tips on preparing for the meeting, setting the tone, and some basics about how to communicate the professional practice issue. Chair of the meetings. See Article 5.02e, which says, the committee meetings are chaired alternately by the employer and the union. If you are the chair, be familiar with the agenda and the items and ensure you always have a copy of the previous minutes for distribution and discussion. Ensure you are aware of any actions or decisions that were made by the union regarding an issue. The RNU representatives on the committee should share chairing the meetings. This gives everyone valuable experience and knowledge as the chair. Therefore, anyone can fill the role in someone's absence. This promotes RNU solidarity and influence. Minutes of the meeting. See Article 5.02F, which says, the agenda for each meeting is circulated a minimum of 7 calendar days prior to each meeting. Meeting minutes shall be prepared, approved, and signed by an employer representative and the branch prior to circulation. The branch is responsible for ensuring that a copy is forwarded to Union office. Be sure to send PPC minutes to RNU office, as we don't often receive these copies. It is important that we have a copy for our electronic documentation, especially if the LRO is called in as a consultant. The minutes are also helpful for follow-up and continuity in the instance where an LRO is covering for another. The PPC meets in order to look at issues that are usually outside the realm of a grievance. The committee has the power to make recommendations to the union and to management with respect to its discussions and conclusions. Don't forget to report back to members, whether the issue was resolved or not. Refer back to Module 2, where reporting back was discussed in more detail. If the professional practice issue has not been resolved or continues to occur, there are a few avenues you can explore. One is to invite your LRO or provincial executive member. Article 5.02b states that an officer or representative of the union may attend meetings as a consultant. The PPC may choose to contact their designated LRO and invite them to a meeting as a means to facilitate the problem-solving process with the employer. In some cases, it may be appropriate for a provincial executive member to attend the PPC meeting. Either way, if an RNU representative will be attending the meeting, you should notify the employer 7 calendar days in advance. The member of the PPC or branch executive may contact their LRO to discuss these options. Invite the Chief Executive Officer and Board of Directors member. Another option to address an unresolved issue is found in Article 5.02J, which enables the PPC to invite the Chief Executive Officer and one member of the Board of Directors to attend one meeting of the Professional Practices Committee on an annual basis to discuss concerns unresolved in the complaint procedure. This is an excellent opportunity to pursue the matter further and have the unresolved issue heard by others within the organization. Use the tips for presenting your professional practice concern to prepare for such a meeting. Continue to use the process for resolving a professional practice issue. Recall in Chapter 2, the process for resolving a professional practice issue was outlined. Sometimes it may feel that the issue becomes stalled at a certain point along the way. If you feel the issue is not resolved to your satisfaction, remember to continually assess the situation using the cyclical process. Use the tools that are available to you in this toolkit, and remember to use your RNU Volunteer Network or RNU Provincial Office. Document each occurrence every time using a new form, regardless if you have already submitted a form on the same issue. The importance of documentation cannot be understated. After any meeting, don't forget to report back to members. The Professional Practice Branch Tracking Tool is in the booklet on page 59. It can simplify the process of keeping track of any professional practice issues in your branch. You can modify the form to include date, the type of issue, and dates of conversations and meetings. Look at the form on a monthly basis to see how many issues have been resolved or how many are still outstanding. Also, assess the form to see if there are any trends. For example, maybe there were 6 forms filed this month surrounding medication administration. The tracking tool can enable you to quickly see trends in an area and take steps to examine the issue more closely and work to resolve it. In summary, professional practice language in the collective agreement is an avenue in which registered nurses can address professional practice concerns, protect patients, and advocate on their behalf. Many registered nurses across the province have been able to successfully resolve the professional practice issue using the language. The more the professional practice form is used to communicate unsafe workplace practices, the more impact it will have to influence change. If you feel your work environment is preventing you from meeting your professional standards, engage in the professional practice process with your employer. Documentation is the absolute key to success with the professional practice process. Document each and every time an issue presents itself. Documenting new, ongoing, and/or recurring concerns is a crucial piece in building the evidence required to effect change and improve your working conditions. For any questions on the Professional Practice Toolkit or the online learning modules, contact our new provincial office.